Hello. So now we're back for part 3. At the end of part 2, they were going off for lunch. So we're now back. So Miss Shah, who is Stephanie Jones's lawyer, she asked the question, all right, there came a time when you and Wayfarer brought on Melissa Nathan and her firm, TAG, to help you with crisis communications. Is that right? Yes. How did you become to be introduced to Melissa Nathan? Me personally? Yes. Do you mean specifically or the sequence of events, or describe for me the sequence of events that led to you coming to the idea to hire Melissa Nathan and then ultimately hiring Melissa Nathan? We decided to bring on someone for crisis PR, and Melissa Nathan was, I believe, one of the names that was presented. When in time did you decide to bring on crisis PR? I believe August of 2024. Do you recall that it was around or before July 25th of 2024? That what? That you decided to bring on crisis communications? I don't. Okay, any reason to dispute that? Shapiro objects. If you have a document that might dispute it, I would be very open to seeing it. I just don't have the dates in my head. And what led you to the decision that you should or needed to bring on crisis communications at that point in time? People were talking. Press was starting to ask questions. Why I wasn't doing any marketing promotion of the film. By this point, I'd been told that I wasn't allowed to attend my own premiere, and I believe fans and press were starting to notice that I was absent, and at that point it became a public conversation, which I think to me and to us felt like a crisis. What about it felt like a crisis to you? Well, I think not just the idea of not being allowed to go to my own premiere was very hard. If you think about your question, crisis to me feels like another word for not good situation in the public. So it wasn't for I feel like a regular PR is for run-of-the-mill everyday press. And then if there are situations that are not good, you hire a crisis PR person who specializes in that. And what were you hiring Melissa Nathan and TAG as crisis PR people to do exactly? I didn't know much about crisis PR, so I don't really know at that time. Do you have a better understanding now? Yes. What is that understanding? To combat untrue negative stories with the truth. When did you come to that understanding? After I met crisis PR. Meaning Melissa Nathan? And the various people that worked with her. At TAG? Yes. Okay. And when I say TAG, you understand that I'm referring to Melissa Nathan's PR agency, the agency group, right? Yes. Okay, you said that Melissa Nathan, or the agency group's names, was one of the ones proposed to you as a potential crisis PR. Is that right? Again, not proposed to me, but I believe there were multiple that Jamie had met with. Do you know if Jamie actually spoke to or met with any other than Melissa Nathan and her team? I'm not sure. Do you have an understanding of what led Wayfarer and you to hire Melissa Nathan instead of any of the other recommended PRs? I believe I entrusted that to Jamie to help make the best decision for us. Do you have an understanding from Jamie or otherwise in terms of why he decided to hire Melissa Nathan over other names that were recommended? I didn't ask very many questions at that time, but I believe he thought she was very good at her job. Do you know what led him to believe that? I don't. Did you have any personal role in making the decision to hire Melissa Nathan over any of the other crisis PRs that may have been recommended? No. Are you aware of where Jamie got the names for potential crisis communications professionals that he was considering? I imagined from, and then Shapiro interjects, Mr. Baldoni, don't speculate. And then Justin says, no, actually, I don't. You don't know? No. Do you know if he or anyone else at Wayfarer asked Stephanie Jones for her views on crisis communications professionals that you should hire? I don't. Do you know if she recommended Melissa Nathan or not? If Stephanie Jones recommended? I now know that she didn't. How did you come to that understanding? Shapiro, Mr. Baldoni, don't answer. Then Justin says, no. And then Shapiro says, if the information came from your lawyers. Justin, yes, I can answer this. Stephanie had sent me a text about Melissa Nathan. You knew at the time that Stephanie did not recommend that you hire Melissa Nathan, correct? Shapiro objects. I knew that Stephanie did not like Melissa Nathan, yes. And Stephanie warned you against hiring Melissa Nathan, isn't that right? I think you could put it that way. You could put it that way with my interaction with Stephanie, yeah. And were you aware that Stephanie also warned Jamie Heath and Tara Hanks against hiring Melissa Nathan? I was only aware of what she texted me. Jamie Heath and Tara Hanks never told you that Stephanie Jones had also warned them against hiring Melissa Nathan? Not that I recall. Do you have an understanding as to why Stephanie Jones was warning you against hiring Melissa Nathan? I vaguely remember, I think there was a text message that she sent I'm reading it in my mind. There was a word shady in there, and it was like a link to something that I'd never clicked on. Other than the text message you're describing with Stephanie Jones, did you ever have a conversation with her about this issue, whether in person or on the phone? I don't know. My memory of this time was that there was a lot of messages, and I might have spoken to Stephanie. I don't remember the conversation, but there was like a bit like felt like a frantic energy from Stephanie. Did you give any credence to the information that she was given to you in terms of why you should not hire Melissa Nathan to be aligned with you? Shapiro objects. What do you mean by credence exactly? Did you take her concerns seriously? I believe I did. Did you do anything to investigate them further before you hired Melissa Nathan? I didn't have any capacity at that time to do personal investigation. No. Did you relay Stephanie's concerns to Jamie Heath or Tara Hanks at the time? I believe I did, yes. Tell me what you recall about the substance of those conversations or communications. I remember passing along that Stephanie doesn't like. I didn't know who Melissa Nathan was. One of the people. That's what I remember. Do you remember Stephanie Jones telling you in sum or substance that Melissa Nathan and the tactics she uses as a crisis communications professional are not the kinds of tactics that you want to publicly associate yourself with? That sounds very familiar. Are you aware that Wayfarer and you decided to hire Melissa Nathan over Stephanie Jones's objections? I would imagine so, yes. Okay, I'm going to show you what's marked as Exhibit 5. It's a text message between you and Stephanie Jones dated July 26th, 2024. Is this the text message that you were referring to that Stephanie Jones sent you when she warned you against hiring Melissa Nathan? It appears to be. And this was sent on July 26th, 2024. So does this refresh your recollection that you were considering bringing on Crisis PR before July 26th, 2024? Yes. Okay, and as you recall, Stephanie Jones sent you a link at the top of the text thread, right? Yes. You said you never clicked on that. Is that right? Yes. Why not? It might sound silly, but it felt like there was an agenda, and it didn't feel, yeah. And so because it felt to you like she had an agenda, you didn't bother to look at what she was sending you. Shapiro, objection. Justin, I didn't say that. How would you say it? I was going through a lot in my life at this time, and I didn't want to be in the middle or part of anything like this. So I asked her to please communicate with Jamie and Tara, as they would be handling everything. Do you think it's important for you as a public persona to take care in who you associate yourself with? Shapiro objects. Justin, yeah. It's a fair question. Do you think it's important for you as a human being personally to take care in who you associate yourself with? Shapiro objects. Justin, yeah. Have you ever heard, either then or since that time, about the work that Melissa Nathan did as a crisis publicist with respect to a woman named Camilla Sterling, who was found dead in a hotel room that was rented under the name of Scooter Braun's associate, David Baldoni? Shapiro objects. Through this case in the last few weeks, yes. If you had clicked on the link that Stephanie Jones sent to you at the time, it appears that you would have learned about it then, doesn't it? Shapiro objects. I don't know what was in the article, but if the article said something about crisis PR, then I'm assuming I would have learned. You can see from the link that she sent, it says singer Camilla Sterling died, David Baldoni, hotel room. Can you see that? Yes. Okay, what have you come to learn since then about the work that Melissa Nathan did in connection with the Camilla Sterling incident? Oh, I haven't learned anything. I know what I think being accused of, but I don't actually know anything that Melissa did or didn't do. You never talked to Melissa about this? No. Still haven't? No. Okay. You will see at the bottom of the text that Stephanie says, this is the kind of mess Melissa Nathan lies and cleans up. Bono works for Scooter, and it was a nightmare. Lies, dirty work. You see that? I do. Did you ever ask her what she meant by that? I don't believe I did. Then she writes, I'm also don't want Blake's team to align you with people like Melissa, like this Melissa works with. Do you see that? I do. Did you ever ask her what she meant by that? I did not. Were you aware at the time that Melissa works with people like Jed Wallace? Shapiro objects. I had no idea who Jed Wallace was. Okay. So you don't know whether or not that's what Stephanie Jones was also trying to warn you about. And then Glover, who is Jed Wallace's lawyer, ejects form. Justin, I don't know. No, I don't know. Because you never asked her what she meant by that? Shapiro objects. Unless you have a document that says I did, I don't feel like I did. Okay, I'm going to show you a document that's been marked Exhibit 6. You got it. It's a text message between Stephanie Jones, Jamie Heath, Tara Hanks, and you. Uh-huh. Dated July 27th, 26th. Do you see this? Yes. Okay, do you recall this text message when you received it? Vaguely, yes. Okay, and in this text message, Stephanie Jones warned you, Tara Hanks, and Jamie Heath that you should not work with Melissa Nathan because there's a lot of dirty work she has done, and it's not someone that you would want in Justin's org. Do you see that? Yes. Okay. And she goes on to say, all for Blake's PR to use as a weapon against him. Do you see that? I do. Did you ever have a conversation with her about what she meant by that? I did not have a conversation with Stephanie at all around this. Okay. Do you have any understanding whether from this text message or anything else that you knew at the time about what she meant when she said, I just downloaded Tara on some dark stuff? I don't. Did Tara ever relay the substance of that conversation to you? I think I had a conversation with Tara and Jamie that I didn't want to be part of any of this, so I trusted them to make the decision. I don't believe she told me anything. Okay. Do you understand from this text message that Stephanie is telling you and Jamie and Tara that it might not be good for you to be associated with someone like Melissa Nathan based on the type of tactics that she has used in the past? That seems to be an accurate summary. And that if people knew that you were associated with Melissa Nathan, or specifically if Blake's PR came to find out that you had associated yourself with Melissa Nathan, they could use that against you because of who Melissa Nathan was, right? Shapiro, objection. I can't speculate to what she meant by that, but it seems to be she says Blake's PR to use as a weapon, so okay. Now, Wayfarer and you. Are you done with this one? I think so. Here you go. Wayfarer and you went ahead and hired Melissa Nathan after and despite Stephanie Jones's warnings, right? Shapiro objects. I believe so. And there came a time in August after you had hired Melissa Nathan that the Hollywood Reporter published an article about the fact that you had hired Melissa Nathan, right? Yes. I'm going to show you that article. It's a document that we're going to mark as Exhibit 7. Thank you. It's an article from the Hollywood Reporter dated August 14th, 2024, that says Justin Baldoni hires crisis PR veteran amid it ends with us rift. Do you see that? Uh-huh. And he goes on to say, the director and star who has retained the services of Melissa Nathan, who represented Johnny Depp during the Amber Heard trial. Do you see that? Excuse me, on the second page, yes. Okay. You were pretty upset when this article came out, right? I don't remember what I was feeling. You were worried when this article came out that being publicly associated with Melissa Nathan might make it look like you had something to be guilty for, right? Shapiro objects. No, I think I was just not happy that my crisis PR was being publicized. I don't think it had anything to do with Melissa Nathan. Why were you not happy that your crisis PR was publicized? Because it felt like more of the kind of thing that felt like somebody would plan to draw more attention and fan a flame to something. Fan a flame for what? To public speculation, the fan theories of why I wasn't doing press with anyone, and what were the fan theories at the time about why you weren't doing press with anyone? What were the fan theories at the time about why you weren't doing press with anyone? I remember there being a lot of talk about all of the cast and following me, why I wasn't doing press with any of the cast members. I don't remember the date that this came out, but I don't know if I'd already done the premiere or not at this point. But I had also never read an article or seen an article about somebody hiring crisis PR, so I found it odd. And you thought it made you look bad? Yeah, I did think that. Yeah, I think I did. You thought it made you look like you had something to hide? I think I had never been involved in anything like this, and I wasn't used to seeing my name in the press in this way at all. And I certainly didn't want my name out there in a negative way. You thought it made you look like you had something to hide that had to do with the allegations of on-set abuse, right? I'm unaware of any allegations of on-set abuse. To this day, you're unaware of any allegations against you of on-set abuse? Shapiro objects. Abuse? I'm aware of allegations that were written in the New York Times article and in this lawsuit, yeah. What do you understand those allegations to be? I understand that I have been alleged to sexually harass Miss Lively, and then that I have alleged to have launched a retaliation smear campaign. Do you recall articles coming out around the time that called your on-set behaviour abusive? Objection. I believe I do. Okay, so you understand that was one of the fan theories that was floating around about why you weren't involved in publicity and why all of the cast had unfollowed you, right? Shapiro objects. Not necessarily. Well, yes or no? Shapiro objects. No. You're not aware of any fan theories at the time that one of the reasons that the cast unfollowed you and that you were not involved in a lot of the marketing of the film or publicity around the film was because you engaged in abusive or toxic behaviour on set. Shapiro objects. I'm not aware those were the fan theories, no. Any theories? Shapiro objects. I'm aware that there were leaks to press that accused me of that, but I'm not aware of fan theories. Okay, 39, please. I'm going to hand you a document that's marked as Exhibit 8. It's a text thread between Henny Grace, Melissa Nathan, and you. I think that's it. Uh-huh. I thought Justin Baldoni's alter was Henny Grace. On August 14th. Do you see that? I do. Who is Henny Grace? That used to be my alias, but it's now become public, so no longer useful as an alias. All right. So this is a text thread between you and Melissa Nathan, is that right? It appears to be, yes. On August 14th, which is the day after the Hollywood Reporter article that we just looked at was published. Do you see that? Yes. Okay, and halfway down the page at 8:03 a.m., you write, talk to me about this. So I'm really frustrated about the crisis PR leak and framing it as Johnny Depp's firm to poise that I have something to hide and that and also that there was abuse. Do you see that? And you were so concerned about the Hollywood Reporter article framing it specifically with relation to Melissa Nathan's prior association with Johnny Depp that it might mean you had something to hide and that there was abuse on set, right? Shapiro objects. Yes, actually, yes. Okay. And then you say, I don't understand how we are letting her continue to leak stories and do this to us. Do you see that? Yes. Who is her? I presume I meant Miss Lively's team. Okay. And then you ask Melissa Nathan to walk you through it. And then I want you to read Melissa Nathan's response on the next page. Do you want me to keep reading past page 2? No, you don't need to. Okay. So she tells you at the top, sure, firstly, I'm also incredibly frustrated. Do you see that? I do. Then she goes on to say, a PR should never be part of a story, but I also work with many people who are in trouble and protect them. Do you see that? What was it your understanding from this text message or any other conversation you had with her about this topic that she was also frustrated by the publication of the Hollywood Reporter article? I'm reading that here now, so it appears she was frustrated. Do you remember conveying to you that she was frustrated by it? I don't remember outside of this. I was on a plane at the time, so we didn't speak. Okay. Did you speak to her outside of this text message about the Hollywood Reporter article? I don't know. Do you recall any phone or in-person conversations with her about the Hollywood Reporter article? Definitely not in person. I don't remember any phone calls about it. I feel like this was me venting. So this was probably the conversation that we had. Okay. And you're essentially asking her, like, tell me why this isn't a bad look for me, right? Shapiro objects. I think I'm trying to understand all of this. I oftentimes reach out to my team to say, help me understand this. I have a feeling about something. I don't like this. Make me feel better about it. What does this mean? What is this? And I'm not a PR expert. And would you agree with me that she did try to make you feel better about it? It appears that she did try. She's essentially saying, this is not a huge deal. It doesn't look terrible for you, right? Yeah, she's saying it's very normal, but that people have crisis PR. But it seems to me that she also said that it's not normal for PR to be part of a story. So, and if you look down to the 4th paragraph starting, Jen knows. Do you see that? Jen knows, yes. She read, Jen knows. I spoke for an hour on the phone from 12 to 1 a.m. my time. She swears she has nothing to do with it, but I know someone placed this. Do you see that? I do. Did you have a suspicion that Jen Abel had placed this? No. Did you have a suspicion that Stephanie Jones had placed this? I had a suspicion that this was Blake's team placing it. Did you have a suspicion that Melissa Nathan had placed this? No. And here she's essentially communicating to you, I'm frustrated by this. Someone placed this. It wasn't me, right? I think maybe when I first reached out to her, I may have been confused and wondered why my team might have placed this, or if it was a leak. I don't really remember. I just remember it being such a weird headline. But no, I never suspected that Jen placed it. Did you ever suspect that Melissa placed it? Not in a negative way. I think if I reached out, I was confirming that no one from my team would brag about me having crisis PR. I didn't think that was something worth bragging or making an announcement about. Did you get confirmation from your team or comfort from your team that no one from your team had leaked this information? I believe I did. I believe this is part of that. This message that Melissa is writing to you is part of the confirmation that you were getting that your team didn't have any part in leaking this information, right? I believe so. Okay. And then she goes on to say, it doesn't make you look bad. Do you see that? Yes. You understood from this that she was trying to reassure you that this wasn't a bad look for you, right? I imagine that's what she was doing. Okay. And then she said, all the reporters like and trust me, which is why they called me and they took out all the social media stuff and did a straight story. They wouldn't kill it, as they wouldn't kill it. Did you see that? I do. Do you have any understanding of what she meant by they took out all the social media stuff? No, because even just reading it a second ago, I think I missed that too. Sometimes my reading comprehension isn't great. No, I have all the reporters like and trust me, which is why they called me. I have no idea what she's talking about. Did you have an understanding as of this time that she had spoken to reporters at Hollywood Reporter or about this article? No. Did you have any understanding about at the time that she tried to influence the article or kill it? No, I think I missed that completely. Okay. Is this the type of negative association with Melissa Nathan and her past clients and tactics that you think Steph was warning you about before she hired you? Before you hired Melissa? Shapiro objects. I can't speculate as to what she was worried or warning me about. Because you never spoke to her about it yourself? Yeah, I never did. Okay, did Melissa Nathan ever tell you that she, in fact, was responsible for the leak that culminated in the story? She never did. Did she ever tell you that she was lying to you when she told you that she was incredibly frustrated by this? Shapiro objects. She did not. Did she ever tell you when she said, I knew someone placed this, that she actually knew who placed this? She obviously did not. Did she ever tell you that it was one of her friends? Like before, she didn't tell me anything except what I see here. Interesting. I'm getting a sense that people do a lot of things behind Justin Baldoni's back. Whether it is well-intentioned or not, it's almost like they coddle him. But there is a lot, and I adore Justin Baldoni, but there is a lot of, I feel like there's sensory overload, and when things get stressful, he buries his head in the sand and just lets other people deal with things. And I have myself have done that too. And it turns out, in those moments, I have trusted the wrong people, and that has badly backfired. So I'm feeling, I feel so sorry for him, and have empathy for him. But I think he's learning a lot of things that in this deposition that I'm not sure he wants to hear. Okay. If those things were true, are those things you would have wanted her to tell you at the time when you reached out to ask about it? Shapiro objects. Justin, I would imagine so, yes. Okay. I'm going to show you. Pull tab 40, please. Do you want me to hold on to this? You don't have to. I'm going to mark this as Exhibit 9. Thanks. It's a text thread between you, Melissa Nathan, and Jen Abel, also dated 14th of August, 2024. Turn for me to page that's stamped at the bottom, 4554, please. Can I read before then too? Sure. What was the page you wanted me to look at? 4554. It's the page you're on. Okay. So you're sending a screenshot to Jen and Melissa of a text that your old assistant Will sent to you, right? Yes. Did you read the text? I did. And in that text, he essentially expressing to you that it's a bad look for you, what came out in the Hollywood Reporter story, right? Shapiro objects. Justin, yes. Okay. And you were passing that along to Jen and Melissa to see their feedback on that text? I don't remember why I sent it. I just remember it didn't feel good. Why didn't it feel good? Who's on this text, by the way? Oh, it's Melissa. I mean, I'm being talked about in public, and that sucks. And he's telling me that he thinks and that it looks like I'm trying to cover something up. And he wants to just share with me because he knows my heart, and I didn't want people to think that because it wasn't true. And isn't this kind of association exactly what Stephanie Jones was warning you about when she advised you not to hire Melissa Nathan? Shapiro objects. Justin, again, I don't know what Stephanie Jones was exactly referring to, so I can't answer that. You understood that she had said to you that being associated with a crisis communications professional like Melissa Nathan could be used against you because of that association, right? I remember it at one of the texts you showed me. And here is at least one independent source expressing that same view to you right now. Yes. Okay, were you bothered by this? Shapiro objects. I think I was. Okay. Can you think of another example of a director of a film hiring crisis PR during the promotion and release of the film related to the promotion and release of the film? I can't think of an article where anyone who hires crisis PR publicizes it. My question was, can you think of a single example of a director who hired crisis PR during the promotion and release of a film? Shapiro objects. In your industry? Do you mean that I know of a director who hired crisis PR and that I read an article of a director who hired crisis PR? Either one. Can you think of any other example that you can think of where a director of a film hired crisis PR during the promotion and release of that film? A director of a film hired crisis PR. As I sit here right now, I can't think of a director that I would know that hired crisis PR. Okay. Pretty unique situation in the industry as far as you're aware. Shapiro objects. I'm sorry, what was the question? Is that a pretty unique situation in your industry as far as you're aware? For what? That a director would hire a crisis PR in connection with the promotion and release of a film he was directing or she was directing. I don't know, because I don't think people normally find out when people hire crisis PR. But you can't think of a single other example? I can't right now, no. Okay. Tab 83, please. Done with this one? Actually, let's look at it for a second more. Just flip forward to the pages ahead of what we were just talking about from the beginning of the text thread. The pages ahead, sorry. Shapiro asks what the Bates number is. Start at the beginning of the document 4552. Okay. And through 4553, am I correct that you and Jen and Melissa are talking about, generally speaking, what is going on with publicity around you and the film and this issue and how to handle it? Shapiro objects. I think there were more articles coming out that she was sharing and giving me context about. And here we're talking about the trainer and my back. That's from what I see. Okay. On the first page, the first text you wrote, just woke up texting Jennifer. With all the texts I'm getting worried about me. I imagine this truce won't last. Do you see that? Uh-huh. Do you recall getting texts that morning or the day before that were concerned about you? If I remember going to sleep, I don't know if I was on a plane or where. I don't remember where I was. But there were a lot of people asking if I was okay. And they were asking if you were okay because they had read the Hollywood Reporter article about you hiring Johnny Depp's crisis publicist, right? I don't know what they had read. I don't know how many articles there were, but I know that people were worried about me. Was it your understanding that it was, at least in part, generated from the Hollywood Reporter article, or you think it was just a coincidence and out of the blue? Shapiro objects. I had no idea what it was about. That's why I think that's why I was texting Jennifer, and I make reference to a truce between the two PR teams. And what did you understand about that truce? That they would not be planting any negative or untrue stories, and that we would not be talking to any media. Okay. And you understood that that's a truce that had been made between Melissa Nathan and Leslie Sloan, is that right? That's what was told to me. Okay. And you understood, as of this time, that both Melissa Nathan and the TAG and Jennifer Abel and the Jones Works team were interfacing with reporters about the incoming or published stories that were happening around the film and you, is that right? I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time? Sure. I'm trying to get a sense of what you understood the TAG team and Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel to be doing around this time vis-a-vis publicity. You understood that Melissa Nathan had reached out to Leslie Sloan and formed some sort of truce, is that right? Yes. Okay. You understood that Melissa Nathan was monitoring and handling any incoming PR inquiries, is that right? I think I had believed that both her and Jen were doing that. Okay. You understood that Melissa Nathan was interfacing with reporters as necessary on any of these stories, right? Interfacing like communicating with? Communicating with, sure. Yeah. My understanding was that if someone reached out to her, then she would obviously answer that or communicate with them in whatever way a PR person communicates. And by someone, you meant reporter, I would imagine. And by she, you meant Melissa Nathan or Jennifer Abel. Okay, did you understand that Melissa Nathan and or Jennifer Abel were actually speaking to reporters, whether on background or otherwise, around this time? In what capacity? On your behalf? Well, I imagine so. We were still promoting the movie, so. And you understood that both Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel were speaking to reporters on your behalf at this time. I'm not sure if I ever thought about who was speaking to who. Okay. Did you want me to finish as there was something I didn't answer? No. Okay. Were you finished with your answer? I believe so. Okay, 83, please. Now we're done with this? Fair to say that you did not view the Hollywood Reporter article as a positive for you when it came out. I think that's fair to say. Fair to say that you would have been pretty pissed if you had learned that Melissa Nathan had in fact leaked the information that resulted in that article, right? Shapiro objects. I can't imagine I would have been happy about that. All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 10. It's a text thread between Melissa Nathan, Ashley, and Amy Chozick, dated August 13th, 2024. Flip through this for me and tell me if you've ever seen this before. No, I've never seen this before. I don't have to flip through it. Sorry, I gave you the wrong one. Do you know who Amy Chozick is? I do not. Do you know if she's a reporter? I do not. Okay. Do you know who Ashley is? I do not. Do you know if she's one of Melissa Nathan's good friends? I do not. Okay. On the first page of this, there's a text from Amy Chozick, then a text from Melissa Nathan that reads, I'm on Zoom, but we need to pin Amy through me to the wolves. Do you see that? Uh-huh. And then Amy says, I didn't know that Josh would put it on the wires. Did you see that? I do. And then Amy says, my money is on Melissa against the wolves anyway. Do you see that? I do. Then Melissa says, stop sucking up. And then Amy says, I should be your publicist. Hire me. Do you see that? I do. And Melissa says, done. 0.00 per year. Do you see that? I do. Now this text thread is on the same day as a Hollywood Reporter article was published. Shapiro says, is that a question? No. Are you aware of whether or not they were talking about the Hollywood Reporter article that named Melissa Nathan as your crisis PR? Objection. He just said that he's never seen this before. And then Justin goes to say, I've never. Shapiro then says, can you move to something that he actually has knowledge of? No, I'm going to ask him the questions I'm going to ask him. Is it okay if I read the document? Of course. Okay, I've read it. Do you now understand that they were joking about the Hollywood Reporter article that identified Melissa as your crisis PR? Shapiro objects. Justin, it appears to be the case. Okay, Flip with me to the page marked 1222 at the bottom. Okay. Okay. Do you see where Amy Chozick is around 7:40? She says, I told our friend Josh that Melissa is a boss and has a cool client. Josh told his wife, who is a very prominent publicist. Sarah somehow told the Hollywood Reporter, and now they are doing a story on Mel. Do you see that? I do. You understand this is how the Hollywood Reporter got that story? It appears that is what Amy is saying. Flip the page to 1223. You see a screenshot texted by Melissa of a conversation between her and Pam. Do you see that? I do. You don't need to flip back to the article, but I'll represent to you that Pam is Pam McClintock, who wrote the Hollywood Reporter story on Melissa. Okay. Okay, and you see they're texting. And then she reads, good to chat. Melissa says, just checking in to see if I need to look out for this article, and if so, when. And then Pam says, was just texting you. Story is very fair and going soon. Melissa says, thank you. Do you see that? Justin, yes. Were you aware that Melissa had spoken on background with the Hollywood Reporter ahead of the story being published? I mean, that kind of makes a bit of sense, though, because didn't she say that they wouldn't kill it, but she got a load of stuff taken out? I don't know if I'm misunderstanding that. Justin, I was not. Were you aware she was managing coverage in the Hollywood Reporter about her before the story was being published? I was not. Amy Chozick writes, perfect. Do you see that? Oh, sorry, down there? Yes. And if you flip the page, they are talking about what publication? The Hollywood Report. Ooh, exciting. I think so. Do you see that? Yes. Were you aware that Melissa and her friends were boasting and joking about how good this article was going to be for Melissa at the time? Shapiro objects. I wasn't aware of this, so no. Because Melissa never told you any of this, did she? Shapiro objects. I think I testified to what Melissa told me earlier, which was not this. So my voice is now starting to go. Okay, if you flip the page to 1225, you'll see that Melissa texts the Hollywood Reporter story to this group thread when it goes up. Do you see that? Uh-huh. Okay, and then Ashley says, oh, that's really good, Mel. Like, really good. Do you see that? I see it. And then Amy says, boom, this is good, right? Yes, I see it. And then Amy, lower below, says, you are going to hear from all the problematic men. Dick pic a palooza. What? Ashley says, men are always the problem. You're in the right game. Do you see that? I do. What do you think of this, seeing it now? I mean, I'm shocked. Shapiro, objection. I think it sounds like a group of female friends talking to each other about an article. Are you pleased to see that Melissa was joking with her friends about the article that was causing you consternation at the time? Objection. I'm not pleased. I don't think that's the word, but are you pleased by the fact that when you asked her to explain this article for you and what it meant, she didn't tell you any of this? Shapiro objects. I'm sorry, are you pleased by the fact that when you asked Melissa to explain this article, explain this article to me and what it means, she didn't tell you any of this? Shapiro, objection. Again, I wouldn't say I'm pleased. No. Are you pleased to be lumped in amongst Melissa's friends with a group of all the problematic men that need Melissa's help? Shapiro objects. I would hope that they weren't thinking I was one of the problematic men, but that she was going to hear from all of the problematic men. Then it says Dick pic a palooza, so whatever that means. Do you understand from this that essentially what they're saying is this is an article about how Melissa has helped Johnny Depp in his abuse trial against Amber Heard and is now helping you in relation to the allegations by Blake Lively against you. And so now she's going to be hearing from all the problematic men. Shapiro objects. I believe one could have infer by that that's what they were talking about. Do you see Melissa anywhere in this text thread saying, what are you talking about? Justin is not a problematic man. Shapiro objects. Not in the pages that you gave me. Instead, if you look at 1226, you will see that Ashley says, Blake Lively noting Melissa's name. Haha. Then Amy says, Joaquin Phoenix is calling. And then Melissa says, I fucking wish. Right? I see that. Do you have a view from this text thread about whether or not Melissa thought the publication of this article was going to be good for her business? Shapiro objects. I can't guess on what Melissa was thinking or feeling at that time. Okay. I mean, this is a really bad look for Melissa Nathan. This is so bad. And I cannot imagine how Justin Baldoni must have felt hearing all of this and reading all of the messages. Yeah, there's nothing worse than, thinking that someone likes you, cares about you, wants to help you, and then finding out they talk shit about you behind your back. People have seen my ex recently, they will know that I've personally been through similar experiences. So reading all of this is making me quite angry at the moment with Melissa Nathan. I keep an open mind because obviously, Shah is talking through selective messages. Again, another personal experience, but at the end of the day, it's not a good look if she was talking like that about her client and not being upfront about what she was saying and what she was sharing or why things were happening. But yeah, what we've got so far is not a good look. We'd need to look at all of the depositions in full, because there will be other sides to the story. There will be other messages that are not being put in front of Justin Baldoni. They're making a point of putting these messages in front of Justin Baldoni to deliberately sour relationships. What stings a little is I do know that Wayfarer are funding Melissa Nathan and Tag's legal fees. So to have got all of this way through, paying for their legal fees, and then be finding out that, this is how she thought about them or the entire time, and this is how she was speaking about them, is a bit of a gut punch, I think. Okay. So, Shah, do you think it would have been fair for people to infer from the fact that you chose to hire Melissa Nathan that you were now one of a group of problematic men that she intended to work with? Shapiro objection. Do I think it would be fair for people to infer? I think people's opinions are fair. I mean, I can't control people's opinions. Do you think that would be a fair inference for people to draw from the fact that you had hired Melissa Nathan, who had also worked with other problematic men? Shapiro objects. I think, yeah, I think that would be fair. I think in this case, yeah. Do you think you're a problematic man? Shapiro objects. Justin, I don't. Not in any respect? Shapiro objects. I'm not sure how to answer that. Well, with a yes or a no? I don't. Okay. Do you think that this is the type of association, looking back with hindsight, that Steph Jones was trying to warn you about when she warned you not to hire Melissa Nathan? Shapiro objects. Again, I don't know everything that was in Stephanie Jones's head, but I think that would be a fair thing to think. You said you felt at the time that Stephanie Jones had an agenda in warning you against Melissa Nathan. Do you remember that? I do. Seeing this, and in hindsight, do you think she still had an agenda, or do you think she was trying to protect your interests? I can't know what she was truly doing. I just know that the feeling that I had at the time, and it just felt very much like an agenda. Based on everything that has happened since you hired Melissa Nathan, do you regret the decision to hire her? Shapiro objects. I really try not to have regrets. Is this one of them? Shapiro objects. I really try not to have regrets. I don't have regrets. You never have regrets? Shapiro objects. Not so much regrets. No. Okay. You worked with a woman named Katie Case while she was at TAG, is that right? I know the name because she was on messages and a Zoom or here or there, but I don't think I personally worked with her. Okay, but she was on the team at TAG. Yes. That was working with you on the Wayfarer and Baldoni account, is that right? Yes. Okay. You testified that you haven't read her deposition in this case, is that right? Correct. Has anyone, not a lawyer, has anyone other than a lawyer told you anything about what she testified? No. Okay, are you aware? Hold on. I just want to be. There was Brianna and Katie. And I'm not sure who is who. So, okay. I may mix up the two because I know they're both former employees, or I just want to say that I might confuse the two of them. Sure. Have you ever seen them on Zoom? Do you know what they look like? I would need the name under their photos. Okay. To tell who was who. Are you aware that Katie Case testified under oath in this case that Melissa Nathan instructed Katie Case to write the copy for the Stephanie Jones Leaks website? Shapiro objects. Justin, no. Does that surprise you? Objection. It would surprise me. Are you aware that Katie Case testified under oath in this case that Melissa Nathan gave her talking points for the copy for the Stephanie Jones Leaks website, including that Stephanie Jones holds clients hostage, that she leaks clients' confidential information, and that she treats her employees terribly? Shapiro objects. I was unaware. Okay. Are you aware that Katie Case testified under oath in this case that she worked with Melissa and Jed Wallace to create and publish the Stephanie Jones Leaks website? Shapiro objects, and then so does Glover. Justin, I was unaware. Are you aware that Katie Case has testified under oath in this case that she wrote the copy for 5 or 6 tweets at Melissa Nathan? 5 or 6 tweets at Melissa Nathan and Jed Wallace's instruction for an X account lying Stephanie Jones. Glover objects. Shapiro objects. Justin, I was not aware. Melissa Nathan never told this to you? Objection. Nobody has, but you have. Okay, did you speak to Melissa Nathan at all after her own deposition? And then Shapiro says, outside the presence of lawyers? Yes. Yes, Jamie and I had a 1-minute phone call with her. What was the substance of that phone call? Great job. How are you feeling? Are you okay? What did she say? She said she was exhausted and it was really hard. It was mostly Jamie kind of just pouring into her, making her feel good. During this phone call, or at any time otherwise, did she ever tell you or Jamie that she and I had a lengthy conversation about the Stephanie Jones Leaks website and what Katie Case testified under oath? No. Shapiro objects. All right. Are you aware that Katie Case testified under oath that she worked with Melissa Nathan and Jed Wallace to create a smear website against a woman named Amanda Ghost on behalf of their client, Rebel Wilson? Glover objects. Shapiro objects. I am not aware of any of this, of anything that she testified, but no. Okay, have you seen any reporting about the fact that Melissa Nathan and Katie Case were involved in creating a smear website about Amanda Ghost on behalf of their client, Rebel Wilson? I haven't seen anything. I feel like I was made aware that there's another lawsuit happening. Do you know that Melissa Nathan and TAG had been named in this lawsuit? I think that's why I was made aware. Do you know that Jed Wallace has not been named as a defendant in that lawsuit, but is named in the lawsuit as one of the people who was involved in creating that smear website on Amanda Ghost? Glover and Shapiro both object, and Justin says, I do not. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to move on to part 4.